Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Vidcast of Powering the Digital Next Enterprise. Thanks for joining today. Let me give a bit of a context before we deep dive. In this age of continuous connections, leading businesses which are staying ahead of their peers are those that constantly deliver exceptional experience across channels. The best experience for customers, the best experience for your workforce, the best product experience, and so on. But we all know today's business is going through high uncertainty, competition becoming extremely fierce in the digital era, which has now become pervasive. I am happy to introduce you today to Debjyoti Paul, President Digital Experience at ITC Infotech, who will share this session with me, share his experience and views on how digital next enterprises can be constructed. What are the key tenets and how has been delivered? Welcome, Paul.
Hey, thank you very much. Good to be on air.
Absolutely. So, Paul, let's see how to make it a very interactive and interesting session. Why don't you give us a view, share your point of view on what are the shifts that you are seeing, which is directly impacting the clients today?
You know what, DC? So before even getting into shifts, I think what is really important from the point of view of our customers is really the challenge that everybody is facing dealing with completely uncertain environment, right? Consumers are coming up with completely different preferences almost every day. There are so many new categories that have been born in this time. Our own parent company, ITC, as you know, we have launched, I think, some 40 new products in the last
Yeah.
5 months. What's really important is that, from an enterprise's point of view, to be I feel in connection with what is really going on with consumers, what is really going on with their competitors, and obviously the digital intervention that is there from every angle is disrupting operations in every possible way. So I think the biggest challenge that I would first put forth is the fact that change is just incredibly fast, competition is incredibly hot, and digital is completely pervasive. I would say that is the first thing that every customer is really feeling, and then comes shifts, right?
Absolutely right, Paul. Given what's happening around us, I mean, we have been, all of us have been part of this journey. I mean, where we are seeing basic things that we were trying to do it in one way. One way is really no longer the way to go after. There is definitely within the business standpoint the need for being much more connected when you want to achieve certain business goals. What's your view and perspective on the connectedness which is coming, which we feel that it's important?
The way I see our customers talking about it is as follows. So the context, obviously, I laid out just now. It was about the fact that pace of change is incredible, and everybody is really racing to be ahead in the game in this period. In that context, obviously, what is really important is that every organization is able to sense what is really going on around them, respond to it at speed and scale, and have a connectedness across the value chain. So think about it. If there is a new customer segment that has suddenly emerged and you want to respond to it, you need your value chain, your supply chain, your manufacturing to respond. And then supply chain has really got so many new dynamics. There are so many disruptions. Manufacturing has disruptions, workforce has disruptions, people can't go to work. So in that environment, how do you really stitch everything together in real time, reconfigure yourself and meet demand? I think that real time connectedness is extremely important. I feel that really is the first shift that I would focus on, DC, responding to what you were just asking.
Very, very insightful, Paul. Really, I mean, the whole aspect of the way of working really changing, your need for having your insights in the fingertips can really happen if you really have capabilities which bring in that element of real time integration, real time capability, connecting all the processes within the business functions. Absolutely a critical capability in given times. How about this? How about how do you really see these come live? I mean, has there people have been talking about platforms? People have been for a while talking about how to get to something which is meaningful. What is your point of view on platforms, and how do you see this really come live for our customers?
Yeah, so you and I have obviously discussed this
Yeah.
often. The fact is that I feel that the old way of dealing with transformation is really broken. The way that, especially data and AI, has been embraced by organizations, and I'm focusing on data and AI because that to me is really key to bringing about that connectedness in an intelligent manner, right? So the way that data and AI has really been incubated by organizations has been really starting from functional use cases. So you start and say that, okay, here is an opportunity. Let me make the most of it. You build a model, and then you say, okay, it is making sense. I'm seeing money. You start replicating, and then possibly in future say that I need to gear for scale. That is when you start thinking a platform, and then you had found already three more such functional benefits. So you've created new journeys over there. At the end, you have got an ecosystem of many siloed capabilities across the organization. The same capability is possibly required by other parts of the organization, and you really have no ways of sharing data, of sharing insights, about sharing actions, or even sharing learnings from one part to the other. My submission really is that the change, the shift, is about taking that platform centric view. Think of yourself as a software organization, whichever industry you may be in, right? And you really think, how do I create a leverageable capability? Once I create it, I should be able to offer it as a service across the entire organization. I think that is an insight that we have seen connect really well with our customers. So real-time connectedness we spoke about, when offered on a platform basis across the organization, connecting with the entire ecosystem, I think that would be really the way to go.
These are, Paul, frankly speaking, very, very insightful messages and insightful point of views from you. Let me just quickly summarize what we have discussed for our audience. I mean, essentially, with the change coming in, we need to have capabilities which are really interconnected in real time, getting to that capability. Now, how do you deliver those? Really through platforms. And platforms are no longer what we have been used to seeing earlier. It is about incrementally creating capabilities across the enterprise which can be leveraged. It's no longer about silos. And in a sense, the whole approach of building a platform has changed. I mean,
Yeah.
these are really typical things. But what comes to my mind, Paul, really, given these two contexts, your ability to build real-time connectedness within business processes, have much better operations capability, have much better experience rendering capability, then building the platforms incrementally, which is beneficial for the organization. There got to be something to do how to leverage the ecosystem. What about partnership? How does partnership work in this given context, and what have you seen our customers and your customers are adopting in relation to partnerships that are very, very important in my belief?
See, obviously, you're in our current ecosystem. You and I, we have seen that world where the marketing technology landscape, for example, had this 3,000 technologies which showed up on one slide and said, this is what you have to deal with. The data technology landscape probably has come again 2,500 or 3,000 on one slide. Now, when you really think about the choices for our customers, they are making choices from those thousands of technologies across the entire landscape and saying, okay, this is the way that we will go. What that means is that they have to deal with so many different partners. And when we are discussing platforms, it is many of those are actually technology platforms. It's not about embracing technology platforms for the technology, right? It is about actually having, first of all, the platform view as a capability which is available across the organization by stitching together maybe many different technology platforms. That is one aspect to take care of. Now, therefore, you have got different ecosystem players, different technology providers, different business services providers coming together really with you to deliver an outcome. And we are talking of speed. There is competition and you need to win in the marketplace, right? Think about actually delivering that. And if you remain in that environment where you're dealing with your partners as vendor is thinking of you as a customer who has to be addressed with that SOW, the statement of work, and the MSA, and these are the lines that I've underlined, this is what I will deliver, and then here is my change request. First, you have a problem. The way that we are seeing our customers talk to us, which of course is reinforced by the fact that we have seen that path ourselves, is really about joint ownership of outcomes. It is really about what we call true partnership, right? I think that essence of true partnership has really changed, right? So that, I would say, going back to your first question, that in my mind is the third big shift that we really need to recognize and address.
Absolutely, Paul. And if you look at it, we have touched upon critical aspects of which are actually impacting the way we work, the industry, and what they need to do to really adopt to these changes. And this is perhaps what makes Digital Next real. I would love to hear your point of view on what is Digital Next, and given these critical elements, the dynamic shifts which are really core to the business, which are impacting. How do we get together, come live together as functionalities or capabilities that organizations should consider when they talk about Digital Next?
See, obviously, Digital Next is yours and mine creation, right? So let me not pretend here. So, so Digital Next is what, for the audience, I think, it is really what we said embraces those three shifts that we spoke about: real-time connectedness across the enterprise. Second, a platform strategy for execution. And number three, about partnerships, where we bring in as a player in our customer's journey as a significant partner. How do we really have joint ownership? Now, when we construct that Digital Next thought process, the approach is really this, that our customers need a framework when they think about their digital transformation. Most organizations have some framework or the other, and they're really thinking, what next? And it is in that context of what next in digital transformation that we said, hey, it has to be the Digital Next, embracing those three aspects and bringing together the fact that, look, very importantly, you need to have a different level of consumer engagement, which is really hyper personalized. I think that's been there as a concept, right? But what has really been missing in our experience with many of our customers is that the real time ability to engage with consumers with insight, ability to really activate their interest and make an offer on whichever channel they are, digital or physical, is really something that needs to be revisited. And it has to be done in a manner which really captures the shifts that are happening in terms of consumer behavior preferences today. The second aspect is really about the operations gearing up to match that pace at the front end. And it is the intelligence in the operations that you really need to enable. So how can the entire supply chain, manufacturing, and the fact is that there is a huge data infrastructure which is driving intelligence across all of these aspects. How do you make all of that intelligent? How do you really make it suitable for enabling real-time actions? So consumer engagement, the back-end operations, those have to really operate in real time in a manner which is accessible across the organization in a platform-oriented manner. But remember that there is a third very, very important leg there. That is the finance aspect. In finance,
Yeah.
typically has been done, managed through a strategic planning process, which is, at best annual, maybe multi-year. And here is action which is taking place on a daily basis. How do you really bring everything together in a paradigm which stitches all these three aspects, the front end with the consumers, and then there is an intelligent operations at the back end, and then bringing together the strategic and the day-to-day execution together on the planning and financial flows or workforce management point of view, everything coming together. Those three aspects really about uh, being present in real time, I would say, is really digital next. And the way that we really present it to our customers, which really gives us very strong feedback in a positive manner, is that we tie it all together with an outcome orientation. We say we put our skin in the game and we are ready to partner with you to deliver those outcomes that you are really looking for. That is really digital next, DC.
Super, super. So just let me again summarize. I mean, I'll just make sure that it is going in for our audience as well. Very, very insightful conversations or inputs coming from you, Paul. We're talking about creating impacts on experiences. So either it's the product experience or the customer experience or partner experience. So the aspect of experience modernization comes as one of the critical capability. Then we are talking about having intelligent operations. Really, how do you make sure that your backend operations are integrated, automated, and fueled with intelligence? That's what you're talking.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the very critical part, which is essentially your planning process to be much more intelligent, fueled with insights that you can plan your things much better. Either it is your inventory planning that you're doing, or your supply chain planning, or your finance planning, to that matter. Everything comes through and together with an operations and with a capability which can be platformized, which where you can draw outcomes. Wonderful.
Yeah.
I would request you. I mean, you and are seeing some of these requests coming to us, and our teams are getting there, boldly executing, committing to outcomes. I think to make things real for our audience, if you can narrate one of the recent case studies that you have seen, or the work that the team has been doing, it will all come live, Paul. I will request you to do that.
Sure, absolutely. Let me take one instance actually just on the front end. Let me not attempt stitching everything together in a short window. So here is one of the large retailers around the world, actually one of the largest retailers around the world. Thinking, how do I keep bringing my consumers back into the store? How do I keep customer satisfaction at a level which really drives repeat purchase behavior, which grows the basket size, which ensures that not only does my revenue go up, but the customer is more satisfied. And I am therefore seeing a virtuous cycle. It is at that level that we were having this conversation with the client where we said, hey, let's relook as to where you are. You've got 46 concepts, 46 banners or brands, whichever way you look at it. And your problem is about dealing with 16 million consumers who shop with you. How do you really create that virtuous ecosystem which is able to connect in real time, place offers, and give value, which will really truly delight the consumer? And leading from there, what we did in that true partnership thought process, right? We looked at how to really make this into a financially, standalone, self driven propositions. We created an entire loyalty framework, which really is a financial entity on its own today. And we said, by the way, we are being bold in where we want to take you. We'll take complete partnership ownership for this, and we'll do this on a gain sharing model. Today, 16 million consumers, 46 different brands onboarded. Um, you know, consumer spends up significantly. Of course, continuing to thrive in this COVID situation on different channels. And then, fact is that we drive over 1.5 billion transactions per annum for the customer. So that's really bringing that platform thought process, that real-time connectedness, and then bringing ownership to bear in a manner which we believe is truly, class apart in terms of outcomes.
That is massive. That is massive. I mean, you have the experience, you have the analytics coming together, and most importantly, the ability to partner, be the partner of the client, and sign off for certain outcomes that even when we started the project, we were not really sure if we were going to be able to move those business KPIs. But I think the team did a phenomenal job. Everyone, I hope you found this Vidcast very insightful. Please follow us. The link is below. We will be coming back with many more insightful topics and discussions. I thank you, all of you, a lot for joining the session with us today. Paul, thanks a lot. It has been a wonderful chat doing the experience doing the Vidcast with you. Thank you.
Thank you, DC. You've been a great host, and looking forward to actually double clicking on some of the other aspects
Yes.
here. Would love to be back on air. Thank you, everyone in the audience. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.